Hey guys, we have free online textbook. Just click the link on the description below and you can access our vocabulary list, exercises, and listen to Japanese people speaking Japanese words and sentences to help you learn Japanese fast and easily. It's free.
先生、すみません。
はい。
この漢字の読み方を教えてください。
これは住所ですよ。
住所ですか。わかりました。ありがとうございます。
皆さん、お先に失礼します。
雨が降っていますよ。傘を貸しましょうか。
すみません、お願いします。
どうぞ。
お疲れ様です。
お疲れ様です。Hi guys, o genki desu ka? Welcome to lesson 14 grammar explanation. But before proceeding to this video, make sure to watch the lesson 14 vocabulary video so that you will understand the words that we will use in this lesson. So let's get started. So in this lesson, we're gonna learn the te form of the verbs. And using the te form of the verbs, we will also learn the verb te kudasai, the verb te imasu, and the verb mashoka. So first, let's study the verb groupings. So verbs are grouped into three. So the group 1, group 2, and the group 3 verbs. The group 1 verbs, if we remove the mas, the last character will be from the E column or the E sound characters. For example, the verbs kaimasu, if you remove the mas, kai. Kakimasu, kaki. Keshimasu, keshi. Machimasu, machi. Yobimasu, yobi. Nomimasu, nomi. Suwarimasu, suwari. All these verbs, if we remove the mas, the last characters are E sound characters, or they belong from the E column characters. Now for the group 2 verbs, if we remove the mas, all the last characters are E sound characters, or they belong to the E column characters. For example, oshiemasu, oshie. Akemasu, ake. Misemasu, mise. Sutemasu, sute. Narabemasu, narabe. Shimemasu, shime. And tsukaremasu, tsukare. But there are also verbs that ends in E sounds, but they belong to group 2 verbs, or they are called special verbs. For example, the verbs imas, ochimas, orimas, karimas, tarimas, abimas, mimas, ikimas, okimas, kimas, dekimas, sugimas, kanjimas, shinjimas, and tojimas. So make sure to memorize or familiarize these verbs. They belong to special verbs, group 2 verbs. The last group, group 3 verbs, these are nouns plus shimasu. For example, benkyou shimasu. Benkyou is a noun which means study, plus shimasu. The word shimasu means to do. It means to do, study, or to study. Next, shigoto shimasu. Shigoto is work, shimasu, to do. It means to work. Kaigi o shimasu, to conduct a meeting. Soji o shimasu, to clean. And the verb shimasu also means to play, if the noun is a game or a sport. For example, basketball o shimasu. Basketball o shimasu, to play basketball. Next, tennis o shimasu. Tennis o shimasu, to play tennis. Grammar point number 1. Let's learn how to conjugate the verbs into te form. So te form of the verbs is created depending on the group of the verb belongs. So I already made a video about this on our online textbook. Please watch this video. So now, let's learn how to conjugate verbs or transform verbs into their te form, or the te form of the verbs. So first, let's start from the group 1 verbs. So the te form of the verbs depends on which group the verb belongs. So now for the group 1 verbs, if the last character is I, chi, or ri, we replace the I, chi, and ri with chisai tsu or small tsu, then te. So for example, the verb kaimas means to buy, kaimas. Remove mas, so we will have kai, and the last character is I. Replace I with small tsu te, it will become katte. Next, machimas, to wait, machi, it will become matte, matte. Next, suwarimas, suwari, suwatte. Next, kairimas, to go home, kairi, kaite, kaite. Next, for the group 1 that ends in bi, mi, and ni, we will replace bi, mi, and ni with nde, nde. So for example, the verb yobimas, to call, so replace bi with nde, yonde, yonde. Next, nomimas, nonde. Next, yomimas, yomi, yonde. Next, shinimas, shinimas, to die, shinde, shinde. Now for the group 1 verbs that ends in ki, let's remove the ki and replace it with ite, ite. And group 1 verbs that ends in gi, replace the gi with ide, ide. So for example, kakimas, kaite, kaite. Next one, isogimas, to hurry, isogi, isoide, isoide. Next, nugimas, nugimas, to take off, nuide, nuide. So there is an exception. The verb ikimas, ikimas means to go, so it's a group 1 verb. Ikimas becomes itte. So remember, it's an exception. Now for the group 1 verbs that ends in shi, do not remove the shi but add te to it. For example, keshimas, to turn off, keshimas, keshi, add te, it will become keshte, keshte. Next verb, kashimas, kashi, add te, kashte. Next one, hanashimas, hanashi, hanashte, hanashte. Now for the group 2 verbs, simply remove the mas and add te to create the te form of the group 2 verbs. So for example, oshiemas, oshiete, tabemas, tabete, akemas, akete, mimas, mite, okimas, okite. As well as the special verbs, just remove mas and add te as long as they belong to group 2 verbs. Now for the group 3 verbs, let's start from the group 3, kimas, means to come. Remove mas and add te, kite. Next, the noun o shimas, just remove mas from shimas and add te. So for example, benkyou shimas, benkyou shite, benkyou shite. Grammar point number 2, the verb te kudasai. So as you learned earlier, the verb te form, add kudasai to the verb te form to use it as to tell or request someone to do something. For example, namae o kakimasu, namae o kakimasu. This sentence means I write my name, namae o kakimasu. Now to tell someone or to request someone to do something, to write their name, we conjugate the verb kakimasu to the te form plus kudasai. For example, namae o kaite kudasai, namae o kaite kudasai. So the verb kakimasu belongs to group 1. So the te form of kakimasu, kaki, replace ki with ite, so kaite. Kaite plus kudasai, please write your name. Another example, the verb te kudasai is not a very polite way of asking someone to do something. So sometimes we use the expression sumimasen ga. For example, sumimasen ga, doa o shimete kudasai. Sumimasen ga, doa o shimete kudasai. First, we use the phrase sumimasen ga to get someone's attention or to say excuse me. Excuse me, doa o shimete kudasai, from the verb doa o shimemasu, to close the door. Then shimete kudasai, please close the door. Another example, sumimasen ga, この漢字の読み方を教えてください。すみませんが、この漢字の読み方を教えてください。Once again, すみませんが、excuse me。この漢字の読み方を教えてください。この漢字の読み方。この漢字、this 漢字、particle の読み方。読み方 means how to read or the way of reading. Particle を教えてください。From the verb 教えます。To teach, 教えてください。Please teach me or please tell me. Now the verb kata expresses a way of doing something. For example, the verb yomimasu means to read. Yomikata means how to read or the way of reading. Next, tsukai kata from the verb tsukaimasu, to use. Tsukai kata is how to use. The verb iimasu, to say. Iikata is how to say or the way of saying. Kakikata, how to write. Grammar point number 3. The verb te imasu. Verb te imasu. Now, adding imasu to the verb te form or the te form of the verbs, it indicates that a certain action or motion is in progress or currently doing. The first example, bansang wa hiroguwa no tabiteimasu. Bansang wa hiroguwa no tabiteimasu. From the verb tabemas means to eat, transform tabimas to the te form, tabete plus imas, it means eating or currently eating. Van is eating lunch now. Another example, Tanaka-san wa denwa o kakiteimasu. Tanaka-san wa denwa o kakiteimasu. From the verb denwa o kakemasu, to make a phone call. Kakete, the te form of kakemasu, kakete plus imasu, it means at this moment he's currently making a phone call. Another example is Ima ame ga futteimasu ka? Ima ame ga futteimasu ka? So from the verb ame ga furimasu, to rain. Futteimasu is raining. Then add particle ka to make it a yes or no question. The answers are Hai, yes. Futteimasu, it's raining. Or Iie, no. Futteimasen. The negative or the opposite of teimasu is teimasen. It's not raining. Grammar point number 4. The verb mashoka. Verb mashoka is an expression used when the speaker is offering to do something for the listener. If you offer a help to someone, you will use the verb mashoka. For example, kasao kashimashoka? Kasao kashimashoka? Shall I lend you my umbrella? So from the verb kasao kashimasu, to lend the umbrella. Kashimashoka? Shall I lend you my umbrella? So offering to lend the umbrella. He answered, sumimasen, onegai shimasu. Yes, please. Another example is, nimotsu o mochimashou ka? Nimotsu o mochimashou ka? From the verb nimotsu o mochimasu. Mochimasu, to hold or carry. Mochimashou ka? Shall I carry your bag? He answered, Iie, keiko desu. Iie, keiko desu. So, keiko desu is an expression to say no thanks or no thank you. For the grammar point number 5, the noun ga verb. The noun ga verb pattern is used when describing a phenomenon by saying what was felt about it with one or more of the 5 senses. For example, ame ga futteimasu. Ame ga futteimasu. And Yamada-san ga imasen ne. Yamada-san ga imasen ne. Ame ga futteimasu. It's raining. And Yamada-san ga imasen. Mr. Yamada is not around. Grammar point number 6, sumimasen ga. sumimasen ga. The expression sumimasen ga is used as an introductory remarks when addressing someone. So before asking someone to do something, first get their attention or say excuse me. So we can use sumimasen ga. For example, sumimasen ga chotto tetsudatte kudasai. Sumimasen ga chotto tetsudatte kudasai. Excuse me, could you help me please? And another example is shitsure desu ga onamai wa nan desu ka? So another term or another expression is shitsure desu ga. So the same with sumimasen ga, shitsure desu ga. The word shitsure literally means rude or being rude. So it can be translated as sorry for being rude, but may I know your name? Shitsure desu ga onamai wa nan desu ka? So remember these phrases if you want to sound more polite to the listener. So that's all for today's lesson, guys. And the next step, visit manabutextbook.com so that you can access more exercises and example sentences about this lesson. We also added lecture videos to make it easier for you to understand the contents of our online textbook. Minasan, kyo no lesson wa ikaga deshita ka? I hope you learned a lot in today's lesson. If you have questions, you can leave a comment below, and also you can follow me on my Instagram account. Please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our future lessons. Dewa, mata ne. Bye-bye.